My name is Major Cyril Saltibus, and welcome to Celebrating 95, our epic cadetting journey. The St. Lucia Cadet Corps is a paramilitary youth organization sponsored by the government of St. Lucia through the Ministry of Education. Participating in both paramilitary and community activities, cadetting began in England in 1859 to repel a potential French invasion. It continued through World War II, with social workers like Miss Octavia Hill recognizing its value for boys' development. The movement was introduced to St. Lucia on July 13, 1929, with an establishment of a unit at St. Mary's College aimed at promoting discipline and character building. Initially focused on drill, route march, and national parades, the St. Lucia Cadet Corps has evolved significantly over the years and now operates through Act number 23 of 2005 within 22 secondary schools on island. We aim to develop qualities of good and outstanding citizens in our members, while at the same time encouraging a spirit of service to country and the local community through our motto of leadership, service, and discipline. Welcome once again to Celebrating 95, an insight into the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. Evening, St. Lucia, good our friends in the diaspora, cadets, your teachers. Welcome again to 1895 site into the St. Corps. We're into our 5th episode, and again we're going to go into this evening as my guest. We are through away from celebrating 95 years. We set on Saturday, 13th of July. This is going to be a great year of celebration for the St. Lucia Corps. With no further ado, let me my guest, Lieutenant Colonel Catherine, former president of the St. Lucia Corps. Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
How are you keeping?
What?
Retirement new from the cadet.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I have a wife.
Good. Let me get into it. Do you miss the action?
I do. In fairness, it kept me.
Good.
My love into the youth of it. In those and especially to the
Yes. So what took it? And I asked all my guests that question. Moment in time. Was this little snap of that say, I'm joining the St. Lucia Cadet?
Well, we can put my hand on one. No. My father was the policeman. In the young student at the conference, I remember I had to be very troublesome. So, somebody will believe that I was. And I remember Mr. Dame saying to me, you calm down or else find yourself in. I said, no. And something Cadet Corps, being the organization is I attracted me to it was the like field play adventure
Outdoor activities involved.
That attracted us. I've always been like the outdoors, was being outside. So yes, basically.
Good. You were commandant for 10 years. Prior to active cadet, I know you traveled to some of the island Caribbean. You attended most of talk about it, but 10 years responsible for boys in schools, at schools. What was that weight like on your
correction? Young
men and women. Yes. I said girls because they secondary schools, but young men and women.
Yeah. What it like? I have 7. Well, we have, and all of our kids went through it.
Good stuff.
All. Because I found it very useful to me, and where I am today, thank God, is because of the Cadet Corps. The discipline, the morale, the service to nation, the self-confidence which the Corps brought, which I benefited from. I thought it was necessary for me to pass some of that.
Good.
It was challenging, Cyril.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. That weight on your shoulder of being responsible for young men and women. You know, we can have accidents, our insurances, whether we had or we didn't, things like that. Now I know we do it, but it must have been not just a burden. I know it's terrible, but it's a huge responsibility.
We sometimes forget for hidden. Yes, and I must say I had a spouse who supported out the journey. When I was not home, she supported in being there.
I know she's listening. You had. Let's correct that. She told us in the credits.
Because you know, the joke is that I had the rank, but she's the boss.
They all are.
Yes, sir. Yes, so after the question, the
weight of cadetting on the commander.
As a commandant, your first obligation is to make sure that rank officers fall in line of the legislation which we are adopting. And that we take lightly when we hear the bops here. Yeah. But it's not something to be taken lightly. The position of command means that every action that your rank and file in your absence, your presence, wherever you are answerable and to the government and the state.
Yeah.
So that is a heavy fallacy. You know, you have one child, and you have that ability, and we have hundreds of various age, and most it came you had the female coming in.
Yeah, greater responsibility. Yeah.
Responsibility, and we had females. Yeah. That's why we had no choice but to parents to be on campus. Yes. So as they could have been there by the female cadet. So it was one we had to advise, make decisions so that the youth.
Yeah. If everybody understands that credibility, your command of the Cadet Corps, when I was charged with the ability of going to Trinidad and going to St. Kim, I mean, the doctor pulls you into a private office and sit and give you a lecture on responsibility, what's wrong, what you have to do, what weight is on your shoulder, far less being the commandant of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. So that in itself.
Remember when I had an officer and I said to us, if you don't have money in your pocket, can you take some children to walk or any activity, when that they need something happens?
Yeah.
And the officers couldn't understand.
Yeah.
They felt that the state had to provide that.
If you volunteer your time, you volunteer all of you, and you take the responsibility as a parent, and that was important. Now, a lot of us walk around with our uniforms. We go to training on Saturdays. My plan was to invite Dr. Martha here this evening, so she can explain not just the burden, the love, but what it does to our family, the good that it brings to our family, because there's nothing bad that cadetting brings to our family. I mean, my dad is proud to say I'm a cadet. My mother was, when she saw her friends, my son is a cadet. That's a good thing. And they knew for a fact that their sons and daughters were the role models in society. And a while ago, when you said that again, cadetting you know, is responsible for who you are today. It's responsible for a lot of us in society, and I keep repeating that. You know, prime ministers,
yes,
you know, chief justices, you know, people who have all the accolades in St. Lucia and all have gained the respect in St. Lucia. They went through the St. Lucia Cadet Con. It's a great privilege for us, you know. So that is good. I want the technician to play a video, my first video for the evening, showing a little bit of you, so we can comment on it a little bit. Things about that short video. One is I capture you a little bit at Government House a lot, and most of us, not most, those who are honored enough to carry the role of ADC did that, and I want you to speak a little bit about that experience, but also about what some of them are, and the respect in carrying around, you know, those prestigious medals.
I always remember Roger.
Yeah.
Roger always say, you see this thing there? No bird shit, you know.
Right. We did refer to it about like bird shit.
He had to work for it.
Yeah.
Being at Government House, Cyril, was a privilege.
Yes.
And serving with Dame, well, you would know.
Yes.
It was something that we pushed for to get the Bernadette. And then yourself.
At the time, second lieutenant.
Yes, second Salbus,
yeah,
and then yourself, because I remember when I was called to by Dame, she needed an officer.
Yes, yes.
And we said, okay, we'll give her a female officer, and then we ended up. And I remembered we had before Bernadette, we had Vern Gill, who was at ADC.
Yes.
Then you had Roger. Right, so it was a privilege,
an honor,
honor to do. To work with Dame. She was a stickler for procedure, and she came new to the position in that the protocols and thing, but she was willing to learn. And didn't she learned to become one of the best teachers?
Yep. Yeah, very importantly, Dame came in, you can say a little green, but willing to learn and changed everything around to perfection. Yes.
You know, and again, I want to thank her publicly for allowing me to serve as the ADC, not on one occasion, but on 2 occasions.
Well, as we celebrate 95, though, I'm planning to again ask the Ministry of Education for the privilege of using this very station, so we can bring back all our former ADCs, those still alive and well, to talk about that privilege. I don't think people understand. A lot of people joke about it. So when I meet my police friends, the jokes they give, I don't want to repeat. The things they say that we do, but they don't understand the responsibility of being an aide to a head of state. It's a lot of work, you know, and it starts when you get up in the morning at your home or on base, and you go sleeping worrying about what's to come tomorrow, especially when you have to travel and stuff like that. So the responsibility is huge, and persons like you, I mean myself, Major Albert, Dr. Alice Delaire, you know, now Captain Charles.
Yes.
You know, it's a privilege, and one of those days it's good for us to talk about it. So young boys and girls, if you're listening, and parents, if you're listening, those are the kind of things that getting your young, you know, daughter or son to join this organization, this is what it brings forth. It brings forth leaders, people that are disciplined, you know, showing good leadership skills and molding them properly. So as we celebrate 9 to 5, this is the message we actually want to throw out there to parents, to principals with no cadet unit at their school at present. You know, if you're a principal at a secondary school and you don't have a cadet unit, hey, contact the permanent secretary. You want one at your school, because we do, you know, you mold men and women. And I recently I was invited to the Viewfort Comprehensive School graduation last week, and I presented 2 awards there, and it was a privilege just to listen not for the first time, but to be present to hear receiving awards for cadetting, for their role as cadets at their school.
Role models.
And yeah, it was very, 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 very nice. Lieutenant Colonel, yes.
I must say, my first opportunity to travel was with the cadets.
I think mine too, to Barbados with you.
Right.
I don't know if it was yours, but it was my first one when we went to St. Anne's.
Yeah, it was, because a lot of kids, a lot of children, a lot of cadets do not get the opportunity.
Yeah.
And here in those days, we had to raise funds to travel. We had to go out and raise funds, wash cars and these kind of things.
Cake sale on the square in Vieux Fort was just every Saturday thing before training, where we raised a lot of money.
I don't know where it has gone now. I don't know where that has gone, but we had to raise funds to travel. It was a privilege. It was a rewarding experience to travel to overseas to meet your colleagues from another country. But coming to the medals that you said,
yes, I want to discuss some of those medals.
Cyril, one was given to me by the Trinidad Defense Cadet Force for the 100th anniversary. One I received for a Caribbean Cadet Commandant's Medal for contribution to the Caribbean cadetting life. I got from deceased our mentor, Major Skeet. Patrick Skeet, very, very instrumental in our lives as cadets, young cadets. Not that other people have not played the part, but Major Skeet was very instrumental at the time.
Let me just hold you there. Technician, I'm getting a lot of messages, people saying that we sound like robots. So I'm hoping I hope it cures itself, or we can cure it. So, yeah. Oh, he said it's quite clear. So St. Lucia, hey, it's perfect on some of our on some other platforms. So I don't know what's going on, but we'll continue. We were talking about Major Skeet, and let me just interject there. It's a very sad moment for me. A couple months before his death, we were on the phone because he hosted a show in Barbados, and I called into that program. But Major Skeet was supposed to be editing a book that I'm working on called My Tour of Duty as ADC, and I'm now looking for somebody else to do the editing for me and the proofreading for me. And Major Skeet, like you, I don't know, every move I made when I became ADC, my advice, anything I have to do, if I have to travel and I want to advise on how to, where do I wear my badge of rank in this uniform, what kind of mess kit should I how do I fly my flags, I called him. And it was a privilege to have people like that at our disposal. I still call Major McCready in Jamaica. I still call Major Isaac in Trinidad for advice. And we must do that. We must, even when we when we're promoted or when we become commandant, we must try to reach out to ex-commandants for advice. I did the same thing when I became ADC. I did not know it all, so I used to trouble Bernadette all the time. Hey, what did you do for that? What because it's a learning process.
It is,
and we have to continue learning every day. I want us to play a clip now because I want to talk about the transition from one of our past commandants to yourself. Let's play that last clip, that next clip. Thanks.
1929 to 2024, what a milestone. Congratulations to the officers and cadets for keeping the Cadet Corps alive and well. When I was drafted into the Cadet Corps, it was the St. Mary's College Cadets. In 1972, we then saw the birth of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps under the command of Acting Commanding Officer Lieutenant Roger Eudoxie. With his vision came the merger of St. Mary's College Cadets and the Vieux Fort Secondary School Cadets into the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. The Vieux Fort Secondary School Cadet at the time was under the command of Kenny D. Anthony. Due to the training that I have received, it helped me with my hospitality career until my retirement. I have since been called out of retirement on 2 separate occasions, and again, I have to say thanks to the St. Lucia Cadet Corps for that initial nurturing. the resources of the Cadet Corps are often overlooked, not realizing the differences it can make in the lives of young adults. I would like to encourage the Cadet Commandant and his cadre of officers to continue to impart the same to the youngsters of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps, as well as the wider Caribbean, where Cadets Corps do exist. It has been a tremendous honor and part of this great organization. Once again, congratulations to all of you on our 95th anniversary.
You're hearing there is really coming from AI. This is not Major Glass. Major Glass wrote this message to us, so I got it, transformed into AI voice just to give it some effect. But thanks again, Major Glass, for that message. He also said, mentioned a few things to me, and I want to discuss that while we talk about the transition from yourself. You took over from him, right?
Yes.
Yes. But he also sent a note saying, just for our information, that below are names of commanding officers before me, and I did not know those people existed in the Cadet Corps at all. One of them I know I have to interview, Lieutenant Calix George, now Sir Calix George, St. Mary's College, alias Wazo, and I need to talk to him about that and where that name came from. Lieutenant Goddard, Ronnie Goddard, St. Mary's College. Lieutenant Franklin James, St. Mary's College, the older brother of Captain Lawrence James.
No, Linwall.
Well, it says, Linwall, sorry, not Lawrence, Linwall. Yeah. It says Lieutenant Roll Odlum, St. Mary's College, Lieutenant Errol Walker, former ADC, St. Mary's College, Captain Linwall James, former Deputy Commissioner of Police, and Major Roger Eudoxie. Now, among those would be former Prime Minister Dr. Kennedy Anthony, in charge of UFORT.
Yes.
And those are people we need. I mean, I was supposed to have an interview with Dr. Anthony yesterday, but he was in court and I was at work, and that just did not happen. But we're still on schedule because we have a whole year to celebrate. But Sir Calix George said, he said, Salty, I've got a lot of information, so I want to see him and make sure we get it right. But back to you and your transition. Major Curtis Glass either resigned or left, had to go, I'm not too sure what happened, and you took over as commandant.
But there was a, before I took over, you had Major Alvin James.
Let us just apologize for that. Yeah, let me apologize. I didn't remember that name. Yes, Alvin James.
Major Alvin James acted, or didn't act, but he assumed the responsibility as command at the time.
Right.
It wasn't for too long, but he held the position, and then he resigned.
Yeah.
From the position, and then I took over.
Right.
From Major Glass.
Right.
Although he was never written to, Major Alvin James was never written to, but we knew that when Major Glass went overseas to take up a new role, the regulations stated
allowed for him to
continue.
Yes.
So we must recognize that.
Oh yes.
We must recognize that period, though short, but that period where Major Alvin James held the mantle. Major
Alvin James played a pivotal role in the St. Lucia, Cadet Corps. We can write a book about Alvin James and his role in the Cadet Corps. I mean, we can joke about, hey, why did we call him rocking and steady, or the firmness of Alvin James and his influence on most of us, myself included. I traveled with him to Barbados once to some meetings. Alvin James, taking the mantle of being responsible for our weapons training a lot. Great man.
But Cyril, he was one. Before Major Eudoxie retired, or his death, he had a program where we invited former cadets who had retired, left the Corps. Your brother,
Hillary,
Quinlan.
Yep.
a number of other
Willie Ball Charles.
Yeah, Willie Ball Charles.
Yeah.
He invited them to come in to assist, and Alvin was one of them who came in.
Okay.
Who came in. And when they came in, that is when we went to Barbados to do our officers training at the BDF, the Barbados Defense Force. That's in the same year of the Grenada Revolution.
Yep.
The same year. So yeah, he held the mantle for a while and he resigned for whatever reason, and I took on the responsibility. But taking on the responsibility meant a change in life. And as I say so, it hurts me to see that the young officers don't realize that when you take on a responsibility, it changes your life. People look to you, because if you're an officer and a gentleman, people look to you. You no longer can be, you would like to, but you cannot live your life, say, like you used to. When we were ADC, you had to, your whole demeanor, how you carried yourself is something. Well, when my wife held her position, as even now, as because of her position, I have to correspond.
You fall in line.
You fall in line.
Yep. Yep.
But they do not understand that the sacrifices that has to be made when you take on any responsibility.
Yep.
Responsibility of people's children, you now have to change your whole demeanor. You couldn't, without children, you can live your life how you want, but with children, you now have to refocus. And that is what I would like them to understand. It is not life as usual.
Yep. Even when you volunteer normally for a volunteer organization, your life changes, and especially more so with cadets. We are Queen Commission officers, so we have a responsibility to carry ourselves, above, just above the normal, what the normal man and woman does. Lieutenant Colonel, when you served actively in the Cadet Corps, you once held a position at NEMO.
Yes.
And what was that like? Because I know, again, that placed a great burden on you, so you must have an understanding family.
It was one of the most enjoyable time being in the Cadet Corps. My national pride was up front.
Yep.
And it gave me an opportunity to lead by example. When I called the cadets out, they saw me.
Yeah.
They saw me lifting boxes. It was not a send me. I held the position of head of the National Supplies Committee. And I held that position for about 15 years. It brought one and I was responsible at that time to bring in all the relief organizations, Caritas, Red Cross, the Adventists, all of them, all those relief agencies, bring them in together and bring into the international committee together. And saying that, I cannot but mention Lieutenant Don French.
Yes.
Who was very instrumental.
I forgot her, We need to speak about her. There's a nice book that she wrote also about the Cadet Corps. We need to discuss her at some point during the year.
Yeah, Lieutenant Don French, who was very instrumental in getting, preparing, helping us draft all the legislation and the regulations which NEMO is using now. She put it together while as director. But she was very instrumental in having the Cadet Corps to play a pivotal role in response to this point. Yep. To today, where we are today in terms of at the NEMO headquarters, where we use in the headquarters, it was because of her initiative. She went, she assisted us, and she saw the importance of having us close by. And I need to say thank you, Don, wherever you are.
You want to say thank you, Don? When I started traveling with Dame Paulette Louise and people started calling upon me, because of the honorary position you hold, and people say, hey, I'm captain. At the time I was a captain.
Yes.
Captain, can you send me your CV, please? When I look at what I had as a CV, that meant nothing to me. So I gave it to Dawn. And let me tell you something. What she did with my CV, it placed it, on the you know, piles.
Yes.
You know, did something good to my good writer.
Yeah.
She's a good researcher. The way she did my CVs, you know, she actually, the captions at the bottom, the work done in this, you know, information that she your CV, related resources that people can actually go and facts about you, and it was very nice. So if done, you know, thanks again for all the hard work you did for cadetting and for some of us personally. So one big question, a teasing question, it came from one of the past cadets today, and I'll kind of paraphrase because I don't want to ask it directly. Why did you resign as commandant, or why did you bow out as commandant? It's a good question to ask, and I wanted to surprise you with that question. Why did you actually bow out as commandant? You say you have the energy, and I know you still have the energy.
Cyril, put it this way: you must realize, you must recognize when it's time to bow.
Yeah.
And I felt at the time that the diplomatic, the team behind me was not behind me.
Okay. Okay. It feels that way sometimes, even one can relate to work. If you're a general manager of a company and your supervisors are not with you, they can do things to either cripple the thrust going forward, and so you felt that your team was not really with you all the time.
And especially when you are looked upon to carry out to perform certain some tasks, and you fall short. Remember, earlier clock I said the buck stops there.
Yeah, the buck stops there. Yeah, yeah.
And when I saw that, I discussed it with my family, and we said, listen, it is time to bow out.
Yeah. There's a great organization being formed, and people like myself, I'm not even, you know, I can't wait to be part of it. And I think the commandant have already approved its forward thrust, if I can say so. It's the Cadet Corps alumni, and you know, you have people like former adjutant Captain Romeo Mitchell. I think Major Glass is in that group also. I think Lieutenant Saltibus or Second Lieutenant Saltibus just joined that group with a lot of ex-cadets, and what they're trying to do is to look for resources, look for support for the St. Lucia Cadet Corps, because we find a lot of us retire early, like yourself. You know, a lot of us move out of St. Lucia, you know, for our family matters or to get another job, and we resign from the Cadet Corps. But this cadetting has done so much to us. We remain cadets, you know, and we want to continue serving in the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. As I told some of the cadets, one of them said, "Oh, Major Saltibus, you back?" I said, "No, I never left. You know, I knew everything that was going on in the Cadet Corps because you know, in my heart." You know, I'm still a cadet, and my uniform was still there, pressed all the time. So those things, you know, continue. But it is good to know that every function I attend, though, I see you there. You know, I at the last commandant's parade, your wife and yourself were there, and it's a good thing, you know, that the Cadet Corps would always feel it necessary, which is the right thing to do, is to invite our ex-cadets to those functions so the whole story continues. You know, the young ones must not die before us, before we can tell those stories of not knowing what to do. And I'm still airing it out there publicly. I'm still pressing the training ring to have a few campfires where some of us old cadets can sit down with those kids and share, you know, vital information, you know, with the cadets. We have another video, another message from the United States of America, one of our ex-cadets who now reside in America. If we can play that now, that would be great, so we can talk about it.
My name is Matthias Wilkie. I bring you greetings from New York City, and I come here to congratulate you on 95 years of outstanding service to St. Lucia, as you continue to mold young boys and girls into outstanding citizens. Your longevity speaks well. So for the rank and file of the Cadet Corps, I wish you a happy 95th anniversary.
This was Matthias Wilkie, now residing in New York. He's part of the organization that will be formed pretty soon, the alumni, Cadet Corps alumni. And but even before that, I must tell everybody, Wilkie sponsors cadets every year, you know, silently, you know, without any fanfare. And one of those days we're going to recognize him for his hard work, but he continues to do that every year. This year, a lot more persons are coming on board, you know, to sponsor cadets who cannot actually afford to be on a camp. We are opening up the lines at the moment for St. Lucians, for people out there who want to call and contribute positively to the Cadet Corps, because the whole aim of our show, the whole aim of celebrating our anniversary is to encourage young men and women to sign up, you know, as members of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps through your secondary schools. So going forward, that was Wilkie, right? And you were in a photograph also there. I think you're on the airport saying goodbye to Lieutenant Markey at the time.
Yes,
who
taking the troops to Barbados.
Taking the troops to Barbados, right? So you know, those were nice moments, and we are coming. We'll be launching our tabletop magazine, our coffee table magazine pretty soon. Okay. You know, just to again, you know, share all those memories of cadets and talk about the past commandants, the past ADCs, the former RSMs, and explain what, I mean, we have some stories that we can tell about, you know, the role of the RSMs, or we call them regimental sergeant major, we call them force sergeant major, we call them corps sergeant majors, but they played an important role in the life of cadetting, and that's very important. So we celebrate in 95 years. St. Lucia is only celebrating its 45th anniversary of independence. We were there long, and we survived. This Cadet Corps have survived, and we're moving into 100 pretty soon, which is a major milestone. How do you feel being part of an organization that is celebrating 95 years old, and you, of course, playing a pivotal role in that organization?
Humble, proud, can't find a word. So it is one that, as I said previously, one that helped mold person I am today as it relates to me.
I think we have a caller online. Go ahead, caller. Good evening.
Hello?
Yes, good evening, caller. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening. I will congratulate the Cadet Corps. Celebrating 95 years.
Thank you.
Okay. I only have one problem.
A problem? Why a problem?
Okay, the Cadet Corps needs to right the wrong that he did.
I cannot hear you. Speak a little clearer, though. I didn't hear your last comment.
The Cadet Corps needs to correct the wrong that he did. Wrong of 17 years of cadetting. Well,
let me just stop you there. This show is ready to celebrate our 95th anniversary, and I would hope that, let's say, the St. Lucia Cadet Corps would have things like, just like the police does and the army does, is disciplinary committees, channels to channel, things like that. We're here to celebrate 95, so if you're celebrating, let's celebrate.
Yeah, I understand that, but as much as I congratulate the Cadet Corps on 95, but this one sitting up, you need to correct that wrong that you did to me. Anyway, good night.
Okay, good night. Thanks for your contribution. Yeah, you will always find that. I mean, maybe he was wrong, or maybe he was right. We don't know, and because there was no names mentioned. But you know, in any organization, you have issues. As I was discussing with, I think, the former commandant and Vern Nelson last time, even me went through some level of ups and downs, and I stood the course and stayed there until I was cleared. But if you know, and those things, there are channels for that, you know, and there are correct channels to do it. I went for the correct channel, you know, of writing my complaints to the head of state and allowing the head of state to deal with it, you know. So don't forget, the lines are open, and I don't know if you have a question for any cadets tonight. Cadets and not normal people out there. I want cadets to call in. I'm hoping that the cadets are listening. We still have, I think we have 2 more mugs to give out. We have another show next week, so we're giving out Cadet Corps mugs to to cadets, you know, and we have a new one with the 95th anniversary on it. So if you ask a question, if you have a nice question that is ticklish enough, you can always pose it to the cadets. But as I said, the lines are open. But as we wait for calls to come in, Lieutenant Colonel, where do you see the St. Lucia Cadet Corps going now that you know that the government of St. Lucia have given us a property for our own headquarters, land for training? In your time, you'd have been fortunate during your tenure to have that. You didn't, but now it is there.
Yes, we've been
you know, where do you see us going with all this, you know, resources?
Like I say to some of the organizations which I am part of, it is not having the equipment, but the people that would use the equipment. You need to strengthen the officer cadre, let them take the responsibility in bringing to mold the kids, because a headquarters is a building, as you rightly say. Is a building. Yeah. But the commandant needs to know that his men are behind him. Yes, good, all well and good to have a headquarters building, but command needs to know that his troops are behind him.
Your troops. You can have a big 40-room building, and you can put 40 officers in there, but if they don't produce, then you don't get nothing. I'm hoping though.
And I'm not doubting that his men are, his officers, his rank and file are behind him. I'm not doubting that. But that is...
It's key for
the success, yes. For the growth, for the continual growth of the organization. Like you said, you need to be, you need to pass that knowledge for continuity.
Yeah. I've had a few wonderful meetings with the present commandant. He has a good head on that shoulder of his. And again, I don't want to hope. I expect, you know, all our officers to fall in line and follow the instructions from the day-to-day instructions. You know, at a point where you have a head of state who is throwing everything into the St. Lucia Cadet Corps, at a stage where you have a minister of education who's saying, yes, just ask, I will try my best. And we do have a special minister. I don't know what to call him anymore. You know, if he's our godfather, or if he's our adopted father. But Senior Minister King have taken an interest into the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. Sometimes when I call the commandant to advise me on something with a show coming up, he says, no, sorry, I have to attend to Senior Minister who wants to see me about something cadetting. And that is good. It is good to know that you have the head of state, the Governor General, you have the minister, plus other ministers saying, I want to help. It's because I think, maybe it's because of the vision of the Prime Minister when it comes to youth development. Because youth is an important thing to the Prime Minister in this stage. And I'm hoping that the Cadet Corps, again, can just grab it, run with it. I can see our headquarters doing a lot. I mean, we've played around. I'm hearing we're playing around with a lot of ideas about it being the center, the nerve center for many other organizations, right? So when you want to, if you're looking for, let's say, an international camp, you look towards the St. Lucia Cadet Corps to give you the services that's needed, the secretariat. You know, even the scouts want to do something, they come to the Cadet Corps Secretariat, you know, in that renewed building when it's renewed, and can work from there. When you were commandant of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps, explain to the public for me what support you got from the CCC, the Caribbean Cadet. I don't know if they call them association right now, or council. In my days, it was the Caribbean Cadet Council, I think, where all commandants came together once a year at a summer camp and they discussed the affairs going forward. I know Colonel Hyacinth is on top of that right now, and there's a lot of even changes, you know, taking place right now in cadetting. But during your tenure, did that benefit you all a lot?
Yes, in terms of training and equipment. We had, even the exchange camps. exchange camps. We had training persons coming from Barbados at the time, Trinidad, Jamaica, who came down and assisted us with our drill, especially when there was the new drill manual. You were part of that too, Cyril.
Of course.
Right, the drill manual.
But I keep my hat there. I don't. It's very
yeah, your drill manual. So we had the office persons coming down. Trinidad, Jamaica, Barbados provided us with kits, uniforms, when we didn't have, you know, St. Vincent to a lesser extent. But all of them, the council came together to support us in whatever area that we needed the support.
Yep.
So it has been, and I hope that they keep it going. Has been beneficial, and it's one that where command meets and we share.
I think it assisted the St. Lucia Cadet Corps in recognizing its potential. Even when I can always recall January, where I was the chairperson of the first Caribbean Training Officers Conference, and I was the youngest officer. And I remember McCurdy and Isaac from Trinidad and Skid from Barbados pulling me aside because I panicked. Huh? A young lieutenant, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to do, and they pulled me outside, you know, because when I started, I kind of was shaking, and the three of them pulled me outside and, you know, come on, man, get the thing going, you can do it. And I went back in that room, and they gave me the strength to conduct that meeting. And from that meeting, we gave birth to a lot of new training policies and new training ideas going forward. So yes, they keep assisting, and I know Colonel Hyacinth is actually taking full advantage right now of that. I mean, through in the last 2 years, I know we had a potential commandant's training course, you know, where a few officers from all over the Caribbean came together on the direction of the Jamaica Cadet Force, and that, you know, they conducted a good training, and we did some protocol training. We did etiquette and stuff like that, you know. So a lot has been done, and that is good. It augurs well for the Cadet Corps. You said earlier it was a struggle when females came in the Cadet Corps, and that is just new to me, and I'm throwing it out for the first time. I know of a lot of cadet females who were in the female Cadet Corps. My sister, Esther, was a member of one of the first female platoons. What I cannot remember, though, and we need to do some research on that, who were the female officers? I really cannot. I mean, I know there was a two female officers went to Barbados with me, but that was late in the game, right? Louisa Charles from Sozel, and I can't remember the other female's name from Castries. You know, no, not Peters didn't go with me. There were two females who went with me. Another, you know, tough female. I can't remember her name, but Louisa and one of them doing one of the photographs we captured. But I cannot remember before them who were the female cadets. And I need to ask Teacher Julie, I think, from Beaufort Comprehensive School, who still have all the albums. You know, I need to ask her who, you know, which one of the females took charge. I know people like Theodora, but I was late in the game. I'm talking about before them. You know, when Beaufort had their first female platoon.
I don't remember.
I can't myself. You know, I see John Quinlan with them. You know, I see the Wilkinson brothers sometimes on parade with females in the back. But I cannot really put my hand on any
I think
individual.
The cadre, the officers came about, really the drive of female officers came about when the gradual acceptance of the females into the cadet and cadre came about. That time we had teachers, female teachers, Mrs. Donna Lambert, Lambie's wife.
Yes.
And you had they had another couple of them, you know, from teachers. We had this teacher from, even when before St. Joseph Convent came on, we had two teachers from St. Joseph Convent who were there with us. But Cyril, what I would like to, you were saying my vision, or what I'm disappointed that the ministry has not re-established the advisory cadet board.
Oh, well, that is something even me, and I will not even resist saying that. This is a passion of mine, because one cannot manage themselves. and the advisory council is there to manage the affairs of the cadet corps. In other words, let's say, and it can happen anytime, if you have an adjutant along with his commandant going rogue, you know, you don't expect the Governor General to step in on issues like that. The Governor General have bigger, you know, administrative duties to perform. And the advisory council or the advisory board is a significant part of the
it's in the legislation.
It is the one. They're the ones who really go through, let's say, persons who need to be commissioned, any major disciplinary thing you have, the appointment or reappointment of the commandant,
and ranks,
you know, regulating the terms of your term of office, you know, stuff like that, you know. And yeah, it is needed, and it is something I've mentioned privately, let's say, to the minister, because I do have a privilege of speaking to him from time to time in my past jobs. I mean, I have mentioned it to commandant. So I don't think we shouldn't look at it as a downturn. I think we just mentioned it there. I just spark this little, you know, put a little fire under it to do it. But it's all left to the ministry to make sure. I don't think, yes, the commandant should be saying, hey, where's my advisory committee? But it's left up to the ministry to figure, hey, if I read the legislation, there is supposed to be that, so let's put it in place. And that's the only way we can be properly governed. You know, so again, maybe next week I'll make a few calls, you know, and because, yeah, those of us, we need to, you know, go in for the right channels, of course. You make a few calls to make sure that the legislation is all in place, and that is good. So if you were commandant today, Saturday, we're celebrating 9 to 5. What would be your dream or your thoughts on a year of celebrations? What activities? And mind you, I'm asking that question because who knows, some of those you mentioned we might still take on board. And as past commandant, I'm hoping that from time to time, let's say headquarters would meet with you, of course, as past commandant, and say, hey, let me pick your brain on something. And I'm hoping that's been done. So what would be some of your ideas for celebrating our 95th anniversary?
But before I even go there, sir, let me say that it is when I command, and I'm certain that the current command, your first responsibility is towards the kids.
Yes.
Not the officers, yes, the officers, not the officers, but the ranks below you.
So that's what the cadet corps is about. The cadet corps is about young boys.
So here's an opportunity to help them showcase themselves. Hikes, we used to have our hikes, as you rightly say, camp, bonfires, these activities, parents, kids, parents, children, open day where they can come in, all these things where the entire body, community, individuals come together and develop an appreciation for the organization.
Well, I know I had the RSM in that hot seat, and she did announce a lot of those activities. She's hoping to have an open day with parents coming on board at the closing camp, and where you can just showcase cadetting. So that is going on. I know we have a church service. I mean, we may have one in honor of some of our fallen cadets, right? And I know we had a dinner planned, but somehow the Carnival Committee have now thrown the Calypso finals on our anniversary date, and we would have loved to have all the ministers attend our anniversary dinner. So we postponed it for a later date, and we will announce that to the public at some point in time, our anniversary dinner. It's a big thing where officers get a chance to come out with their partners and their families and sit down and enjoy, you know, what is a normal to us, abnormal to everybody else, is official dinner, you know, where you sit down and there's certain protocols you have to follow for that. So it's a nice thing. But so there are a lot of activities happening, I know, including
but you remember, Cyril, sorry for cutting, you said a year of activities.
A whole year of activities.
So there's lots of room for lots of room to think. And one of the focal things is be community service.
Yes.
Giving back to the community what they have given.
A lot of the ex-cadets I'm speaking to right now who are forming this alumni is saying, hey gentlemen, when last did we did a nice beach cleanup? Spearheaded by the cadet corps, not we joining in. because we always joining in some other group, but we need to do those things spearheaded by the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. We are the ones saying, hey, today we're going to clean Sandy Beach in Vieux Fort. We're going to go to Kazoba and clean Kazoba and make a statement that we are, reigniting volunteerism in the country. We have a final video to play, which is more or less, because we're almost running out of time, a promotion for, not a promotion, an advert for an event on Saturday. I don't know if there's a call, but if there's not, Mr. Technician, if you can play this last video so we can just talk about it as we're about to wrap up. Again, part of our celebrations, His Excellency Mr. Errol Charles, again, being deeply involved in the St. Lucia Cadet Corps, requested a parade. And he is the Commander-in-Chief. He represents the crown, and the Cadet Corps does and still falls under the crown until it's announced otherwise. If we go in the direction of going to republic, then that changes. But for now, we're still under the crown, and he represents the crown. So he has requested a parade, and that's happening at Government House on Saturday for cadets, and a few parents will be invited. A few ministers will be invited. We have a call. Let's take that call, although we're about to end. Caller, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Mr. Cyril Saltibus and Mr. with you there, I don't know his name.
It's Lieutenant Colonel Matherin, former cadet commandant.
Okay, yeah. I only called to congratulate you on your celebration.
Thank you.
I wonder if you know or recognize my voice.
Not yet, but it would be a privilege for you to give up.
I am a Saltibus.
Oh, you're Saltibus. You're Saltibus.
At Cousin Bernard?
Exactly.
Oh.
Bernard, yeah.
Okay. Good evening, Cousin Bernard.
Your cousin.
Yes. Thanks a lot for that. I think it is good that sometimes, yes. Thanks a lot for the recognition. Thanks a lot for the congratulations.
Yes, you're welcome.
And thanks for listening also. Yes. Okay, so we're about to wrap up, Lieutenant Colonel. Can't wait for that. I can't wait for that bird to fall somewhere on my shoulder one day. although I'm nearing retirement here. But your final thoughts on, and I always ask, I would like all my guests to end with this. We are here to encourage young boys and girls, young men and women, and excuse me for mean young boys and girls because they're still at school, but here we are grooming them into young men and women. A message to them to gravitate towards the Cadet Corps, the reputable clubs in St. Lucia, as opposed to going in this other direction that causes problems in our society. And we do author a better deal, when it comes to youth organizations. So your final thoughts on our celebrations, on encouraging cadets, and saying thanks to the families who really support us officers from time to time. And a final chance to say thanks to your wife for all those years of borrowing the big pans from your house to cook our food on camp.
So what I would like to encourage the young people, there are lots of activities out there that will, and a lot of people which will direct you away from the voluntary groups, and especially the Cadet Corps. But make a decision, make one for the positive, one where you can make a positive contribution to the nation, and in the nation, and secure your future. Because without a nation positive people, we headed to destruction. And I would like the young people to give the Corps an opportunity, or give volunteerism, organize uniform groups an opportunity to be part of it. Command and the cadre, congratulations. And know that our support, my support is always there, call and every time. Just know that it is a task that no one can pay you for.
Yes.
But the rewards are great.
Great.
The rewards are great, and I can say to you, from my experience, that the rewards are great.
It's like said in the Bible, huh?
Yes. Very. And to our spouses who have been there with us, we'd like to thank you publicly for supporting us during our absence and during the task, and continue to support those officers who are carrying the mantle at this point in time.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Colonel Andre Mathra, former cadet, Commandant of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. Let me end by saying congratulations to all of us. Commandant, Colonel Nathan Hyacinth, Deputy Commandant, your entire executive. We are 3 days away from our celebration, our 95th anniversary, and we're going to have our final show next week, Wednesday. And on that show, we're going to talk about what are the plans for the balance of the year going forward. So once again, St. Lucia, our cadets in the diaspora, our cadets at home, the parents, good evening. Thanks for joining us, and see you next week. And stay tuned online to the St. Lucia Cadet Corps Facebook page to view in our parade at Government House with His Excellency, Mr. Errol Charles. Thank you very much, and good evening.